Hey guys, if you're a Turo host or somebody interested in starting a car rental business, this video is going to help you avoid several different cars that have been huge headaches for me in my fleet and ones I do not recommend. Each one of these vehicles has cost me hundreds, if not thousands of dollars, and I want to help you avoid these same pitfalls because believe me, having these cars in my fleet was not fun, and I want to help you avoid that downfall. Hey guys, it's George with CarRentalCoach.com. If you're looking to grow your car rental business or build a Turo fleet like we have, make sure to click on the notification bell so you never miss another video and click subscribe. We consult with clients every single day and help them build passive income through car rentals while avoiding all of the obstacles we came across while doing this ourselves. And there was a lot. We only take on so many clients at once, so if you want to see if you qualify to work with us, go to CarRentalCoach.com, fill out the 60-second survey to see if we could be a good fit to help you grow your car fleet and maximize your profits. All right, I'm going to show you the 5 worst vehicles that I've ever had through my 5 years of being a car sharing host. These are the worst cars I've ever had. Each one has cost me hundreds, if not thousands of dollars, and I do not recommend purchasing any of them. Car number 1, Nissan Sentras. Overall, I like Nissan. I've had Nissan Rogues in my fleet that performed amazingly well. I've had Nissan Versas that have done extremely well. The only Nissan that I've ever owned in my fleet, which I've had 3 of these, all had the same issue, were Nissan Sentras. So let me tell you some stories about these. Something happens when it gets warm out in Pittsburgh or any part in the country where you have heat. That is, your AC starts breaking or having problems in your vehicles. Well, not every vehicle, but for some reason, Nissan Sentras. So out of the 3 Nissan Sentras I've owned, each one has had the AC unit stop working. You know, and people might say, oh, that's not the biggest repair ever, but still, you're still looking around $300 if you're getting a good deal on it, to even upwards to $600 to $700. So AC is not fun, and it's not going to leave you the best reviews from guests either when they're in a car on a nice hot summer day, and then AC goes out, they're not too happy and they're going to complain, and you're going to have to swap them into another car. So hopefully you have another one in your fleet, or you're going to have to give them a refund and end the trip early. Either way, it's going to leave a bad customer service experience, bad rental experience for them in general, and you're going to be losing money with the repair and the refund to the customer. It is unavoidable sometimes when the AC goes out on a rental trip, but still, at the end of the day, you can help avoid it by not buying Nissan Sentras, because out of the 3 I've had, each one has had AC problems. So maybe Nissan needs to jot these notes down and take a look at these models. It's the only make and model of vehicle that I've ever had this issue with. Another thing about Nissan Sentras, 2 out of the 3 Nissan Sentras I've had bad transmission problems, where I've had to replace the transmission, and these vehicles were a little higher miles, grant you, but still, they were only around 90,000 miles when the transmission went, which with the way I take care of my vehicles shouldn't have been a thing. So avoid Nissan Sentras if you don't want to pay expensive AC bills to fix those, and transmissions. The second car on my list to avoid when adding to your car rental fleet or just car rental business in general is Dodge Journeys. So I have some interesting stories about Dodge Journeys you might have seen in my other videos, but I'm going to recap a few for you. So I had a renter, took this car out, and I believe it was within 12 hours, approximately 12 hours, that he was able to crash the car into not 1, not 2, but 5 other vehicles. So he actually sideswiped a whole line of vehicles that were parked on a road. So that was a fun insurance claim where I had to deal with a lot of paperwork, and I really had to learn the game. I came out on top, not having to pay anything and still making money, but still, that was one that even tested me. That was early on in my career. But anyways, the guy brings the car back. It's destroyed. Or actually, I shouldn't say he brought it back. It was towed back, and I actually found a gun in the car. And he came and got the gun. It was a big weird thing. Drugs were found in the car too, obviously. Drugs and guns seem to go together sometimes, especially when you're totaling vehicles. But anyways, that wasn't the main issue with the car. An engine light came on too, showing transmission problems. So it could have been the way the guy drove the car, wrecked it, all these other factors. But we had 2 other vehicles after that were both Dodge Journeys that also had transmission issues. So another car that I just don't recommend after having several are Dodge Journeys. They're nice cars. They're nice and large. They rent very well because they're SUVs. People like them. And overall, I'm a fan of Dodge, just not the Dodge Journey because of the transmission issues that I've had in 3. And again, not easy to fix, caused a lot of headaches, and a car that I would just avoid because they're nice, but not worth the headache. Okay, car number 3. This is when I was very early on in my career, and I was thinking about getting some nicer cars to my fleet. Not that my cars now aren't nice. They're all very nice, very well maintained, but they're all economy cars. So I was experimenting a little bit, and I bought a BMW X5. I was thinking, that would be a good rental. Maybe I could rent it for a little bit more. And it did rent for a little bit more, probably like 20% to 30% more than my economy cars. But BMWs can have a lots of maintenance issues and mechanical issues. And the fun thing about BMWs, it's not so fun. They are very expensive to repair. So let me walk you through this one. So this BMW was in one accident before. We were able to get it fixed, fortunately, and I had insurance cover it all, and we actually came out on top. But we had another problem with it where the oil pan needed replaced. So with my economy cars, the oil pan, pretty simple job, wouldn't be that stressful, not that much of a headache. But with the BMW X5, they told us we had to take it to a special dealer. BMW likes to design their cars, so you actually have to take them to the dealers, and it's getting harder and harder, especially with the newer models, to work on them with outside mechanics that aren't licensed through a dealership. Some of these cars even have special tools that you can only get at the dealer, so they do that to keep it like a subscription. You buy the car from BMW, they also want you to service it there and get it fixed there. And guess what? When you get it fixed at a dealership, especially a new car dealership, it's going to be a lot more expensive than it is taking it to your local mechanic. But anyways, after investigating the oil pan issue, and they explained they had to like move the engine and everything to get to it, they were talking around $3,000. I was able to source this car for like $13,000. So putting $3,000 into it for something like this wasn't worth it. We ended up just selling the vehicle after fixing it just to recoup our loss, because we realized if this were to happen again or something else major were to go on in this car, we would never have broken even or made a profit. So for that reason, I don't recommend BMWs to rent. And I've heard other horror stories from hosts when it comes to BMWs. Just one mechanical issue can put you out of the game with them. So stay away from them unless you know a lot about BMW. At least the older X5 models, that's the one I have experience with, so I can speak with. I wouldn't recommend that. There might be some BMWs that rent very well on the platform. But when it comes to maintenance, wear and tear, repairs, you might find yourself upside down on your loan payment, or if you don't have a loan payment, which, I don't myself, but you still might find yourself in trouble because you're not going to make a profit. So you're going to do a lot of renting out the car, thinking you're doing well, and then at the end of the day, all the money goes back into fixing the car. That's not a place you want to be, so that's why I stay away from BMW myself. All right, car number 4. I had the bright idea of renting out a pickup truck. I bought a GMC Sierra. I thought, well, maybe people would be willing to pay more in the Pittsburgh area to have a truck. Maybe people would book it more to move or to travel, go camping, all that kind of stuff when being in PA. And I didn't have any trucks in the fleet, so I thought, that'd be cool just to diversify. Why not? Well, the problem with having this truck is people like to beat up on trucks. The bed ended up getting scratched, beat up. The way people drove the car was just outrageous compared to the others with the issues it would come back with. The car itself actually held up okay, but just with the wear and tear of people moving and how they treated the truck when camping, sometimes using it for construction work. And the thing is, with the deductibles and stuff, it wasn't enough damage to really make money off a lot of these claims. Doing the pickup truck business did not make sense, at least for me in PA. Maybe in a different state it could work, but I don't recommend doing pickup trucks just because people are going to beat them up and you're not going to make much more money. This car really only paid me about 10% more than my economy vehicles, which was surprising to me. And I check markets every single day and price accordingly, so I'm extremely on top of that. And trucks obviously cost more to upkeep, and there was a larger initial investment than a lot of my economy cars. So for the reason of people beating them up and it not making much more money than like a Mitsubishi Mirage overall, I don't recommend them. And maybe in your market it might work if you find out a way to say like rent to contractors or have like a longer term rental agreement. I could see the value in that. But when it comes to doing rideshare platforms like Turo, I didn't find much benefit in renting out an actual truck. So stay away from them. Or not, but I'm just giving you my honest opinion of what happened to me. And the last car that I absolutely do not recommend anybody rent, even my worst enemies out there. I'm just kidding. I don't have any enemies. But the worst car I've ever had in my fleet, the one that's the biggest headache, the one that keeps me up at night. I'm just kidding. I've done very well on these platforms. It doesn't keep me up at night anymore. But it was a very stressful time because I had this car earlier. Oh, drum roll. That was a pretty bad drum roll. But a Chevy Cruise 2016 model specifically. This car had more electrical issues than anything that we've ever had since we started. We threw so many parts at it, taking it to 3 different mechanics, and every single time we would rent it out, it would do well, but then have an overheating problem, just weird electrical issue problems. But really, it came down to overheating, and as we know, overheating can be detrimental to a vehicle. Car broke down several times after having it fixed, and nobody could diagnose this thing, not even Chevy. So it wasn't under warranty, so I ended up actually taking a pretty big loss on this vehicle. And I pulled it off of the Turo platform because after the third time of it breaking down after putting thousands of dollars into it, we decided it's not worth getting the bad reviews, it's not worth our customer safety, and nobody seems to be able to fix this vehicle. So at the end of the day, Chevy Cruises are just not my favorite cars, especially that 2016 model. That was the biggest headache by far. That and the BMW were probably the ones I disliked the most out of that whole list because I can see how you can make money with some of the other ones, even the Sentras if it's just AC. But man, that Chevy Cruise, that was a nightmare, and do not recommend getting one of those. I actually remember the Chevy Cruise after, we do our safety inspection, have employees drive the car for over a week, take it to mechanics to get looked at after we source it. After the first rental, the guy broke down on the side of the road and we had to get roadside assistance involved, spend hundreds of dollars on that, swap the guy into a different car, also offer him a refund. And I thought, oh, maybe that's just like, bad luck. And the car, maybe the guy was driving it bad or anything like that. But then had it fixed. Same thing happened 2 months later. So for that reason, I don't recommend Chevy Cruises. And a lot of the time lately, I've been staying away from American vehicles. I love America, but the cars seem to be a lot of headaches. I really like Kias, Nissan overall, except for those Sentras, and a few others. But if you want to know about the cars that are the top 10 most profitable in my fleet, you can click this video here. And remember, as always, go to carrentalcoach.com if you want to fast track your car rental business success.